Hi, I'm Annette Pasternak, the Stop Skin Picking Coach, and I'm here today with Genevieve, who is one of my former clients. Say hello to Genevieve. Or Genevieve, you say hello to our viewers, rather.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, we have your cat too.
We do. This guy's gonna be here no matter what, unfortunately. So hopefully he'll behave.
Yeah, thank you so much, Genevieve, for coming on. And this was triggered by an email that Genevieve sent to me about a month ago. Just an update telling me how well she's been doing since her coaching program that ended maybe half a year or so before.
Hmm. Yeah. We started seeing each other. I think in October of 2016, and then we ended our session in January. And it is now August, and I feel great.
Okay, so Genevieve, would you mind sharing a little bit about your story, like of your history with picking up to the point where you decided to look for help?
Yeah, definitely. So I started picking when I was about 14 years old, so towards the tail end of my sophomore year in high school. But before then, starting in like second or third or fourth grade, I had body dysmorphia. And I had all the like telltale symptoms of it. Like I changed clothes several times a day. Like I was very unhappy with the way I looked. I was very uncomfortable in my skin and sort of obsessed with what the mirror could tell me about myself. So the picking started, again, right towards the tail end of my sophomore year. And I think that sort of evolved from that focus on the mirror. And at first I was like really, really ashamed of it. I didn't tell anybody about it. And like I kept a diary every single day and I like told everything to my diary. But I wouldn't tell my diary about my skin picking. Like I was that ashamed. And I thought it was something that I could get rid of, but it just got worse and worse as time went on. So I picked up my face terribly, and my dad, who is a doctor, would prescribe me things like amoxicillin and like pharmacy grade stuff, and benzoyl peroxide, like things that are just like really toxic, and like stuff that you do not want to put on your face, like on open wounds. And I would put it on my open wounds, and it would just be very, very painful. So I was terrified, really, of like getting ready for bed. I would start getting ready for bed around 9 to 10 o'clock at night. And then I'd be worried because I'd be picking until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, or maybe I'd get up to go to the bathroom at 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I'd be picking until 6 or 7 a.m. just for hours on end, and then I'd have to go to school and find a way to cover up the wounds. So I did finally tell my dad about what was going on. I was still in high school at the time when I told him. And at the time, there was no real diagnosis for dermatillomania. There was some sort of misunderstanding in the healthcare field, like was it self-harm, is it OCD? But thankfully, my dad understood what it was right away. And I got a lot of familial support from him, which is really nice because I know a lot of people don't get support from their family. He was like, all right, let's work on this together. So, we started out with medication therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnotherapy, regular therapy, and none of it really helped. It was just all sort of like a Band-Aid for the larger issue, and the larger issue was that I was addicted to picking. Like it was my way of coping with the world, because I was like a very sensitive individual. So I've hit rock bottom many times over the past 13 or 14 years, like times when I've really gotten better on my own, just through like exercise or eating right, or going to acupuncture and working on my mood, and just times, and all of a sudden I just backslid really hard and I couldn't really pinpoint why, and I just cut myself off from everybody. And every single time I picked myself up, I just have this belief that everybody deserves to live a really good life. Everybody deserves that, and I thought I deserved it too. And so I thought, well, I got to give this another shot. And that was when I got in touch with you last year. I sort of picked up your book when I was in the midst of planning for my wedding, which was in September of last year, and we got in touch in October. And it was just a really rough time for me because I was planning for my wedding and I was trying to do everything at once. But I still had this problem with picking, and it was just mortifying for me that I had to be this blushing bride-to-be, and I still had to deal with the skin picking, even after making so much progress over the years. So I was really glad to get in touch with you at that time.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, so a little about the coaching. I mean, because it worked really well for you, right? So
Yeah, no,
what
it
about
did.
it? Were there, was it techniques that were helpful, or like what are, can you pinpoint maybe the top 3 reasons
Yeah,
that helped?
definitely.
Yeah.
So one thing that comes to mind right away is the emotional freedom technique that you taught me, the tapping. I thought that was super helpful. Like, I had always known about acupuncture and acupressure, and how that could really help alleviate mood issues, but I didn't know that I could do something just sort of right there on the spot that would help me feel better. So every time, I felt bored or overexcited or nervous, or I just had a picking session and I needed to calm down, I would tap and I just felt instantly so much better. Just relief would flood through my body, and that was a really amazing technique for me, and I still use it to this day when I just need to calm down and take a few deep breaths. Something else that you said, it wasn't really a technique that you showed me, but it's something that you said that really resonated with me, and I still think about it to this day. I had a past cognitive behavioral therapist that was really into exposure therapy. So when I first went to him, I had my mirror all covered up. Yeah, and even you're shaking your head right now. And I had my mirror all covered up, and he's like, no, we have to go through exposure therapy together. And so through exposure therapy, you deal with your fears. And so he had me take off the tape and the wrapping paper from the mirror. And of course, I just relapsed into picking right away. And what you said, you were just like, no, keep that mirror covered for as long as you need to. And it was the first time that I really gave myself permission to deal with this issue of picking that I had. And I mean, to this day, I still have my mirrors all covered up. I don't have any mirrors in my house. I just use like a little small handheld compact mirror to put on my makeup every day. And I feel so much better. Like I said, I've been focused on mirrors all my life. So to just finally be free of them, I feel like I have a lot more freedom personally. I feel great.
Wow, that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
so you just feel so good that, like, is that not even a thought in the future? Like, when will I uncover the mirror?
I don't know when I'll uncover. Like, I might not ever need mirrors again. Of course, I deal with them when, like, I go to work or I go to events or I go to a hotel. Or something like that, but I don't feel like I need them as much anymore. Like, I'm not dependent on them. Like, I don't rely on them as a reflection of myself, and I mean that both like physically and sort of my interior reflection of myself as well. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how my relationship with mirrors develops. But
yeah, and do you find when you're in a hotel, do you find that you're still drawn to it and that you end up doing the behavior, or no?
When I'm in a hotel, I do feel drawn to it because it's right there. And you know how hotels are set up. It's so weird. It's like there's this huge mirror and it's got all these lights and this bathroom right there. It's so weird to me. And so I've draped towels over mirrors in hotels before.
Okay.
I've just sort of avoided it and kind of went like when I went to use the toilet or took a shower or something, like, just put on horse blinders to it. So, and that's how I need to deal with it right now, and I'm okay with that.
Great. Yeah, I think that's wonderful because I think it's such a tendency for people to go to the mirror too quickly, like before they're really ready, and then feel badly when they pick again, when they weren't really ready to uncover it in the first place, if it was too soon. So, so kudos for that. Yeah, what else was?
Another thing that I brought on board to my tools was the Freedom Companion came out shortly after our sessions ended, and I bought it like, right, oh yeah, totally bring it out.
My book, my second book. Yeah,
I bought 2 of them already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Question for you, and yeah, would you prefer it in a smaller format that you can put in a bag? Okay, you like it big.
I thought about that, actually. I was like, okay, well, maybe I should recreate it for myself in, a smaller version that I can just, but I like that it's big and that I have to like I see it every day and I see it on my nightstand. I'm like, all right, I got to do this. It's not something I can like shove under piles of books and then forget about. Like, I like that it's big and that I can see it.
I might make another version then, like a second, because I've gotten a few requests to make it, to fit into a purse
Yeah, I mean, different strokes for different folks. But,
okay. Tell our audience about how that's helping you or whatever.
Totally. I just like that I can take a few minutes at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day to see what's working for me and what's not. Like, how's my mood doing? What's my energy like? Is that affecting my picking? Is that affecting how I feel? And just sort of going from there. Through that journal, I've discovered that I actually can't really have any dairy because I feel a lot worse. And I don't think I ever would have discovered that if I hadn't gone through the journal. There's just I know that I feel so much better if I just exercise or if I do a long walk every day. The little things that I've discovered about myself, it's really helped. And it just calms me too. I've always loved journaling. I think it's a great way to calm me down and to sort of reflect on what happened over the course of the day. And I used to do that through picking. Like, I would pick at the mirror at the end of the day, and that would be my way of processing what happened. And so now I can do that in a much healthier way.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think a lot of people don't realize that movement helps us process things mentally. So that instead of, doing the picking movement, now you're doing writing, and that works too.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Definitely.
Maybe just sitting still, I mean, that's really good for some things, but sometimes that whole processing of the day goes better with some writing. So
yeah,
some
totally.
Movement, repetitive movement. Yeah. All right. Well, that's so wonderful that you've really, I mean, and for the viewer, I want you to notice that like these kind of habits can totally change. Like, she had a habit of picking at the end of the day, right? And now she's got a habit of writing in her journal that's really taking the need for the other habit away, the one that, she didn't
totally
need. That's super. Yeah. All right. Well, Genevieve, thank you so much for sharing your story and, true success story. And I know that you're just going to keep on going. And I love the email that you wrote that, like, any picking sessions you have, they just become further and further apart. And,
And I mean, it was a pleasure working with you. And I think if I could just say one thing to people that are really struggling with like depression or like ideas of suicide because they're really struggling with this issue is like, don't give up. Like, I've had this issue for like 14 years now. I am nearly 30. And they're like, you can always heal. You can always heal. And I think that the main point is to just identify your trigger and then kill it with fire. And that'll really help you heal.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, I don't know, the extent to like your depression or whatever, but that's, I mean, for people who are listening, I think, or watching, I think that's really powerful to like know, because they see someone who's like put together and successful and like, to a large extent, this isn't an issue in your life anymore, right?
Right.
But just to understand that like you are at the depths of despair as well. So I thank you for mentioning that. So Genevieve is really open to answering any questions that you guys have. So feel free to comment and she'll pop in and answer your questions. Just be clear if you're asking me or you're asking her.
Definitely. I'm eager to hear from anybody that needs help. So yeah, don't hesitate.
And thank you so much just for being here. And I'm sure our viewers have gotten so much out of what you've told us. So many good tips there.
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
First, give a thumbs up for Genevieve and subscribe to my channel if you're not.